They don't tell you this on Wall Street, but real wealth doesn't look like a movie scene full of screaming traders and last-second hero trades. It looks slow, quiet, and almost painfully boring from the outside. People look at the Berkshire Hathaway empire today and they see hundreds of billions of dollars. They see the massive acquisitions, the compounding returns, and the headlines in the financial newspapers. When they look at my life, they are almost always searching for the big move. They want to know about that one single day where I made a brilliant, high-stakes trade that made me a billionaire. They want the Hollywood movie version of wealth. They imagine a room full of people screaming at computer screens, pulling off a secret master plan at the exact right second to beat the market. They imagine champagne, private jets, and overnight success, all compressed into a 2-hour movie with dramatic background music. But let me tell you a secret that most people simply do not want to hear. The Hollywood version of wealth is a complete biological illusion. Your nervous system is addicted to excitement, drama, and adrenaline, so it keeps fantasizing about the big jackpot moment. Real wealth is not built on a single day of brilliant action. Real wealth is incredibly, almost painfully boring. It's so boring that most people would rather lose money than live this way. If you want to understand how financial empires are actually built and how they are destroyed, you have to look at the physics of nature, not the fantasies of Hollywood. When people think about a house collapsing, they usually think about a hurricane. They picture a massive, violent storm coming in from the ocean and blowing the roof off in 10 seconds. They imagine trees flying through the air, windows shattering, and walls ripped apart by the wind. In the financial world, the hurricane is a massive stock market crash, a terrible real estate investment, or a risky bet on a startup that goes to absolute zero. In the financial world, the hurricane is the big, loud, dramatic event that makes the front page of the newspaper. Everyone is terrified of the hurricane. They talk about it at dinner. They watch documentaries about it. They build entire identities around predicting it. But hurricanes are incredibly rare. And because they are rare, you can see them coming, you can prepare for them, and very often you can survive them. The thing that actually destroys most houses in this country is completely invisible. It is the termites. Termites do not make any noise. They do not announce their arrival. There is no dramatic music when they show up. They just sit in the dark, chewing on the wooden foundation of a house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, one tiny microscopic bite at a time. For years, you do not even know they are there. The paint looks fine, the walls look fine, the house looks perfectly normal from the outside, but inside the structural integrity is being slowly devoured. And then one random day, on a calm, sunny afternoon with no hurricane in sight, the entire structure silently collapses under its own weight. People stand outside and say, "How did this happen? There was no storm." It wasn't the storm, it was the termites. Your daily habits are the termites of your financial life. Most people are poor not because they got hit by a massive financial hurricane, but because they have 1,000 negative termites chewing away at their capital and their cognitive focus every single day. The expensive daily coffee you do not need. The small impulse Amazon purchase late at night. The 3 hours spent mindlessly scrolling on social media. The constant burning need to buy new things just to impress neighbors who do not even care about you. The subscriptions you forgot to cancel. The upgrade to a slightly bigger apartment just because your friends did it. These tiny actions seem completely harmless in the moment. They feel like nothing. Each one is just a sip, just a swipe, just a small decision. But compounded over 10, 20, or 30 years, they will guarantee a life of absolute financial slavery. They are small enough to ignore today, but powerful enough to destroy you tomorrow. Most people are waiting for the hurricane, the big recession, the big crash, the big drama. They do not realize their real enemy is in their pocket and in their mind, quietly nibbling away at their freedom. But here is the beautiful part about this universal law. You can use this exact same physical momentum to build an empire. You can breed positive termites. You can adopt tiny invisible habits that quietly build the foundation of an impenetrable fortress. Over the last 70 years, I did not make thousands of brilliant macroeconomic predictions. I did not invent a new technology. I did not build a revolutionary app or discover a new form of energy. I simply practiced a few tiny habits every single day. These habits were not exciting. They did not make me look cool or sophisticated. In In fact, most people on Wall Street thought my habits were incredibly strange and hopelessly outdated. They laughed at my old-fashioned routines. They mocked my love for dusty books and boring companies. But I did them on Monday, and I did them on Tuesday, and I did them every single day for decades. And eventually those tiny, boring, invisible habits compounded into a mountain of wealth that no economic crisis can ever take away. The hurricane came many times. Recessions, crashes, bubbles bursting, interest rates rising, pandemics, wars, political chaos. The hurricanes destroyed many fragile houses around me. But the fortress built by positive termites, by tiny habits, stood firm. Today I'm going to share 5 of those tiny habits with you. I must warn you before we begin. When you hear these habits, your fragile human ego is going to immediately reject them. Your brain is going to tell you that these actions are far too small to possibly make a difference. Your brain will demand a more complex, exciting, and risky strategy. It will say, this can't be it. It's too simple. It has to be something more dramatic. You must ignore that primitive voice. That is the same voice that keeps you addicted to get-rich-quick schemes and overnight success stories. If you are ready to stop looking for the magic lottery ticket, if you are ready to stop waiting for the big move and start building your foundation, pay very close attention. Let us begin with the first tiny habit. Habit number 1. I call this the physical manifestation of cognitive humility, or simply the too hard pile. Let us talk about the human ego, specifically the ego of highly intelligent people. When you go through the traditional education system and you graduate from a top university, you are trained to solve incredibly difficult problems. You are explicitly rewarded for complexity. If you write a simple, easy-to-read essay in college, you get a mediocre grade. But if you write a deeply complex philosophical essay using massive words and intricate theories, you get the highest grade in the class. This system completely conditions your brain. It trains you to associate complexity with success and to associate simplicity with stupidity. So these brilliant young men and women graduate, they go to Wall Street or they go to Silicon Valley, and they apply this exact same academic logic to the real game of wealth. They look at a simple, boring business, a business that makes bricks or sells chewing gum or manufactures carpet, and their ego immediately rejects it. They think this is far too easy. This is completely beneath my massive intellect. I need a challenge. I need something that proves how smart I am. So they go looking for highly theoretical biotechnology companies. They look for complex financial derivatives that require advanced calculus just to read the prospectus. They study obscure crypto protocols that almost nobody on the planet truly understands. They are deliberately looking for 7-foot fences to jump over, simply to prove to themselves and to their colleagues that they are capable of jumping. But here is the absolute unbending truth of capitalism. The market does not care about your academic degree. The market does not care how many sleepless nights you spent solving advanced equations. The market does not award you bonus points for a high degree of difficulty. $1 earned from a simple, boring, totally predictable business spends exactly the same as $1 earned from a highly complex, revolutionary technology company. On my desk in Omaha, Nebraska, I have a physical tray. It is a simple wooden box, and it is labeled "Too Hard." Every single morning, I receive dozens of investment proposals, annual reports, and business pitches from all over the world. I sit at my desk, I pick up the first document, and I start reading. If I cannot completely understand exactly how this business makes money, who their actual competitors are, and what the industry will look like in 10 years, within the first 3 minutes of reading, I stop. I do not call a team of Wall Street analysts to explain it to me. I do not build a complex financial spreadsheet to try and figure it out. I do not agonize over what I might be missing. I simply take the document and I drop it into the too hard pile, and then I completely forget about it forever. I move on to the next piece of paper. I ruthlessly, almost violently, filter out complexity. Charlie Munger and I have made billions of dollars simply by looking for 1-foot fences that we can easily step over rather than trying to train ourselves to jump over the 7-foot fences. This tiny habit, the physical act of tossing a piece of paper into a tray, is a massive psychological superpower. It protects you from your own arrogant ego. It forces you to operate strictly within what we call your circle of competence. Stop waiting for the big move. Take control of the tiny habits. That's all. Thanks for watching.